I don't look any better after having showered.
You do.
Okay, there we go. So let's have a little
You
sound
look
check.
better. Oh, Bob Harmon's on already.
Hello, Bob.
I've been up since midnight.
Welcome to my dining room, Bob.
Oh, what a pleasure.
So
Yes.
I invited a friend of mine named Greg Godovitz, who actually wrote and recorded and became famous for the song that is my intro and outro on my
Oh, no kidding.
podcast, Bob. So Bob Harmon owns a lighting company in Hawaii.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How's the virus going over there, Bob?
We're in shutdown over here.
You too.
Essential work only. And well, luckily I'm an internet impresario, as we are now talking.
Yeah.
I guess that's important to me.
Yeah, I keep saying to friends of mine, I suddenly look like a genius because, I'm a remote business and have been for pretty much 10 years. So now suddenly people think I'm smart.
I got a really important question to ask you two gentlemen.
Sure.
Why is it you guys have normal skin tone and I'm pink?
It's the lighting in your room.
It's the lighting in your room. It's the color of your walls.
Is that it? Because I was pretty pink. I was pretty pink last night, I'll tell you.
And knowing you as well as I do, Greg, it's entirely possible you drank too much.
That's what I meant. I was pretty pink last night.
Yeah.
More red than pink, actually. We did the smart thing, Bob. You don't know me very well, but instead of going out and looking for copious amounts of toilet paper, we invested wisely in 10 cases of wine.
So you can't wipe your ass, but you don't give a damn.
Well, I figured we don't need the toilet paper because we have 2 cats.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, speaking of drinking wine, look what he's doing. What is it, 8 o'clock in the morning there?
It's a happy hour.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Well, I should get happy too then.
Yeah.
I'll just do a little song. See how this.
7 a.m. here.
Play some nice Beatles background music.
I shouldn't really sing the lyrics, should I?
To which song?
We don't know him.
I know, but you'll pick up on the lyrics pretty fast. It's not good.
Oh, are you talking about Sweet Thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, not yet. You got to wait. We're still early.
I know, but you don't want me singing it. You just want me to play the
No, I want you to sing it too, but just kind of go hoo, hoo, hoo on the ages and stuff. Let's blur that a bit. So, Bob, what he's trying to say is basically this song was written a long, long time ago,
right?
When it was okay to sing about young girls. Since that time, it's actually become a little bit taboo.
It's sort of a Me Too kind of song.
Yeah.
I see.
Not that any of it's true, mind you, but
it's a tale.
It's like Oscar Wilde said, "Never let the truth get in the way of a good story."
It's true.
Hey, there's another guy coming on.
Yeah, this is the venerable Seth Jackson.
Aloha, Seth Jackson.
Seth hasn't got sound yet. He can't hear us.
Kathy Forwall is coming on.
Is she?
Yeah, we don't want to sing this song for Kathy.
Oh no, Kathy will love this song.
No, she won't, trust. I don't even know her, and I know she's going to hate me.
Maybe.
Hi, Kathy.
No,
Hello,
Kathy,
can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine.
All right, great.
So Kathy Torgeson is the CEO of, well, I'm sorry, you have a different last name now.
Yeah, I got married, Cluxton.
Cluxton. Kathy Cluxton is the CEO for Forwall. very large multinational lighting company.
Well, so far all I see is all these movers and shakers and people. Am I the only guy that's unemployed on this little panel here?
I'm sure we're going to have a few more. We'll have a
Okay.
few unemployed people on here. Just give
Misery
us time.
loves company.
Actually, right now we're all unemployed, Greg, to be honest with you. Pretty
Good.
much all of us are unemployed.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So-
why we're getting together at 5 o'clock Eastern time and drinking.
Randy's coming on.
What's
Good.
going on, Marcel?
It ain't a party till Randy's there. It ain't just Marcel. It's Marcel, Seth, David Milley, Bob Harmon, Greg Godovitz, and Kathy, as far as I can remember. I
Hey,
gotta go to
everybody.
Gallery view. I need to see more people.
I called a
Ben.
guy named Randy last
guys.
night. You
Sorry, it's
can look
very, very dark in, in this room.
Hello, Randy.
on the
You look
video.
like you're in outer space.
Sure why.
You sort of look like
Remember
you're
what?
floating in a space capsule.
There you go.
Okay,
Gary Mass.
space capsule. I wish I was in one right now.
Randy, you got to put video on, man.
Oh no.
And
no.
David
Uh,
Milley.
He looks like one of those guys on 60 Minutes that doesn't want to be known.
This
Wow.
is the
It's gonna be,
Corona is this the Corona conference?
This is the, we are the coronavirus.
Oh, brilliant.
Ah, Corona.
My corona. There you go.
Oh my God.
So we'll wait a few
Everybody
minutes.
doing
before we-
okay?
Trying to get another light on in here.
Another light on, like there is one to begin with.
I've got
There
the,
you go. It's amazing.
Oh,
So Ben runs the UK branch of Gear Source.
oh,
So
very
just
good.
like the rest of us, he's also unemployed right now.
That's nice to hear. Good.
nice to meet you all.
You too. I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to say this a few more times before he actually plays it for us. But Greg Godovitz, the guy who keeps talking with the pink face there, is a very good friend of mine who's a rock star from Canada. And he wrote a song called Sweet Thing, which is the intro music for my podcast. And,
Oh, cool.
Cool.
So I asked him to come here with an acoustic guitar and play the intro to my podcast, because so many people in the US had never heard this song, and I get calls all the time from people who are humming my intro music. So I thought it'd be pretty interesting to have Greg on here and play it.
Marcel, you
acoustically.
didn't tell us to bring guitars.
Well, yeah. I mean, that could get messy. And I see David
could-
Barber.
I could
Yeah.
have hooked up Rick.
Yeah. David Barber is, I believe, editor
I am.
for Light and Sound America. Lighting and Sound America magazine has been in the lighting writing business for a very, very long time. I've known you 25 plus years.
There's
Scary,
no
isn't it?
truth to the rumor that Thomas Edison and I went to high school together.
Yeah. So anyways, what time is it? It's still not 5 o'clock. I don't want to start till 5 o'clock because that
All
will
of
just
your
be rude.
friends look so healthy.
Maybe you're just not healthy, Greg.
Well, I am 69 years old. I'm entitled to look like shit.
Blows me away. And it was just your birthday a few days ago.
It was, and none of you bought me anything. I'd like to hasten that.
I did send you a note. So Greg
69 years young.
Greg started a band called Gatto, which is very self-serving and egotistical of you, Greg. But he started a band in the 70s called Gatto, which became very big in Canada. I don't really think anywhere else, though, right, Greg?
We got banned from nearly every state in the union.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they didn't
So-
like it. Hello.
So yeah, Greg
Okay.
started this band called Gatto, got very big, played all over the place, sold lots and lots of records. We became friends when he got into the other side of the music business, selling guitars and stuff, and I owned a guitar store at the time. So we can't hear you, Gary. Turn your mic on.
No, I was just shouting at my daughter who was
Oh.
singing in the background and was worried that everybody could hear her singing.
Oh, no, we can't
And
hear
I
her.
said, And I said, don't worry, you can't hear.
So I have
No,
a
no,
we
funny
need to hear
story.
We need to hear.
I have a funny story about doing video conferencing many, many years ago. And Claudette, who's our chief operating officer, I see her on the screen here, was also on this particular video call. So our web developer at the time was a gentleman named Ezra. And Ezra worked from his house, and we were on a video conference, and Ezra's lovely girlfriend was walking back and forth behind him from, I guess, the bedroom to the kitchen or something, topless. And no one would say anything. Everyone was a little shy and kind of standoffish. And I finally said, Ezra, tell Gianna to put on a shirt. And he's like, oh my God, my camera's on. And so, yeah, it was quite scary.
Brilliant.
So we're going to wait, I think, one more minute, right? One more minute. Hey, Robert Roth is in the house. Jeff Ravitz. I'm trying to see all the faces here. Dustin. Geez. Seth Jackson, we introduced earlier. So many people. Does everyone have a drink? Does anyone have a drink?
I do.
Anytime there's an excuse to drink halfway through a day, I'm taking it.
It's a little early here in California, but hey, you know.
There you go. There you go, Jeff.
Jeff, it's
Marcel,
5 o'clock.
I have a
5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly.
Marcel,
That's right. That's right.
Yes, Greg.
guys, I have a question. Does anybody on this panel actually like Marcel? Anybody?
They all do. They all do. I swear to God, I have paid no one to be on this call today.
Who's
I've paid no
Marcel?
one.
Who's Marcel?
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Knew I could count on all of you. Oh, somebody had to do it. Somebody had to show up with a mask. That would be Patrick Dearson, I can tell just from the hairstyle.
Cigar
That
as
is
well.
awesome. He doesn't even trust himself. He doesn't even trust his own germs.
No. This computer is a porn computer. It's full of viruses. I don't trust it.
So I did a podcast with John Huddleston. I hope he's not on this call right now, but I did a podcast with him earlier today, and I made him put his video on. And he said, okay, wait, give me 2 minutes before you start recording. He had to check his background to make sure there was no pornography. So this is the lovely industry that we all share. So
Awesome.
I think that's Nook that I see that just popped in. Jackie Tien, hi Jackie. Eric Loader. There's so many faces, so I'm trying to catch everybody. I see John Lariviere. I see Ben Salzman from ACT. If I missed your name, it's not because I don't like you or anything. I'm trying to catch everybody here.
And there's Mary.
Yeah. Is that Nils? It is. Craig Burrows.
I agree. We're allowed to start, right? Yeah.
Boutros is in the house. Okay, so first I want to get started by introducing my friend Greg Godovitz, who is somewhere on this screen. He's the one with the pink face. And Greg is a rock star from Canada who founded a band called Gato. And many of you don't know this, but Greg wrote and recorded our intro music for my podcast, which is a Gato song called Sweet Thing. I believe, what year did you record it, Greg?
1977.
1977. It became a very big song in Canada. And so just for fun, I asked Greg to come over here with an acoustic guitar and play and sing our intro music to a bunch of people who have never heard this song before and don't know my friend Greg, who's a silly guy. And so he agreed, of course, to do it. You're the biggest audience he's had in a few years, actually.
This is huge, and it's international.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I also want to point out that Marcel was kind enough to lend me his wonderful chalet in Canmore, Alberta. And I was writing my second book, which is called Up Close and Uncomfortable, much like you're all feeling right now. And it's going to come out this year, and I'm sure Marcel will buy a copy for everybody.
Oh, of course I will.
He didn't know that
Yeah.
little early on that.
A young girl, sweet 16, perfect picture from a one-way dream. Come on over for a rendezvous. Cup of tea and then some dessert too. You like the fact I'm in a rock and roll band. Well, you're aware of the one night stand, but that don't bother no girl like you. Get your cake, eat mine too. You're my sweet, sweet thing. Never bite, but you always sting. You're my sweet, sweet child. Come on over and drive me wild. Come on over and drive me wild. Come on over and drive me wild.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Greg, for doing that. You know, it's funny, but so many of you guys come up to me at trade shows and stuff and say, and like hum that song to me. I remember Adam Baderi did it, you know, probably a month after I started the podcast, and I was laughing, but I appreciate you doing that for us, Greg.
I'm leaving. Thank you, Marcel. You know I love you. And the rest of you guys, I hope you all stay healthy, guys and girls, and that your businesses continue to flourish. These are terrible times we live in. Wash your hands. Bye-bye.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
So,
Patrick Whalen better be an anchor or else he's not sheltering in place.
I am not. I'm out sailing. Look at
oh
this.
my God, that is awesome.
Pretty cool.
Social distancing, my friend.
How far offshore are you?
Well, LAX is back there. We're about 4 miles off the shore.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I don't even know what
enough to get internet.
I don't even know what to say to this industry except, you know, I'm with you guys. Like, this sucks. None of us saw this coming. It's the worst thing ever. But I'll tell you, from my own personal standpoint, I'm blown away by the creativity and the just the creative. What do you call it? I don't even know what to call it, but the fact that I was talking to Huddleston from Upstaging today, and he's making plastic face shields to keep guys busy in their fabrication shop, you know, and they're making money doing that. So the fact that people have come up with ways to survive this thing just blows me away, and it just says so much about our industry.
Marcel, this is Randy. I just received 6 cases of face masks from a client in China.
That's crazy.
50.
So I'm going to head down to the medical center, and I'm donating them to MD Anderson here in
That's
Houston
awesome.
because they're really short.
Well,
So I'm
you know,
going to drop out.
yeah, the other thing that I've been hearing is just so many ideas from people on how to help other people, you know, how to help people who are out of work. And there's a lot of crew guys, roadies in our industry who are hurting right now and are out of work. And I mean, I know all of you are really strong, cool, super amazing individuals. There's some people out there, I think, right now who are struggling emotionally. And, you know, one of the things I've been doing is reaching out to a lot more people than I normally would, you know, people I haven't talked to for 2 and 3 and 4 years, and just making sure people are okay. Are you all right?
Including me.
Do you need anything? Can I help you with anything? Yeah, see, I took care of Jackie.
Well, I think it's funny. I mean, I've been sending letters to the mayor's office in Los Angeles, the governor, about if they need infrastructure, if they need structures built. And I got a very nice email back, but they were like basically saying that they've got it covered and they don't think we'll need our help. And I'm like, we can do in one day what would take you guys weeks to do.
Yeah.
And we have the resources and we have the staff that would be more than happy to go back to work and help all the people that are going to be in need. And I keep writing, you know, Garcetti's office, Gavin Newsom, and other municipalities in California. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity, and I unfortunately think that at some point they are going to need our help to help, you know, with fresh water and delivery and generators and power and building mobile hospitals and stuff. I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
Yeah. Hey, if everyone can mute your microphone when you're not talking, that would be really helpful. Just because we'll get rid of all that nasty echoey sound. But just like what you just said, Patrick, when I was talking to Huddleston today, one of the unique things about our industry is we are uniquely capable of doing almost anything. So if someone somewhere had a job that they needed done and they didn't have the staff or personnel to do it right now, people in the concert industry, we work on timelines that nobody else does. We work on under stress that nobody else does. We work, I mean, other than the medical community, you know, probably. But, you know, we're working, like trucking, for example, Upstaging is going out and offering trucking for medical supplies, which makes perfect sense because they can get stuff there on time under pressure and timelines that other trucking companies are not comfortable with or not familiar with or whatever. So, you know, I see Gumper on here. Gumper can build structures that I think a lot of other people cannot build. And you take that expertise and that crew who's used to working on a crazy time schedule and move them into another industry that allows weeks to do something. And suddenly we can move, you know, we can move mountains in a very short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, from my side, I've had some inquiries on some structure stuff, but for the most part, every building out there is now empty. Every convention center, every arena. So I'm seeing a lot more needs for power and infrastructure on that side of things. The structures haven't really been too much of a draw right now.
And I think it's crazy that they're not taking us up on these offers.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so much to offer. And I think that, I mean, I literally send a letter out every 2 days. And I think that eventually they're going to come around to where they need us. I hope they don't, because that means that it's mellowing out. But I think we're all realistic about what's about to happen. And I think that, you know, they're going to need our help and they're going to need our support, which is why I keep pounding them, because I want them to not have to think about it, because our industry is amazing at pulling off the impossible.
Yeah, and you guys, you heard what they, Shacky, what they did to the Javits. So they turned it into several hundred beds. They're already there.
It's actually 1,000 beds.
You got 1,000, yeah.
Yeah, it's 4 250 cap individual hospitals. And like, I don't know who here is from New York besides Jackie.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, you know, in watching Governor Cuomo's press things every day, it actually like,
amazing.
He's been absolutely amazing. And, you know, how he deals with our federal government and how they're just trying to like make it all work. And, you know, FEMA was like, we'll give you 400 respirators. And Cuomo's like, I need 30,000 respirators. So, and we're pretty much the epicenter right now in New York, which is kind of scary. And me personally, I was in France 11 days ago. So I just made it back in time before it got weird.
And you were on a cruise ship, right?
And I was on a cruise ship.
Two whammies.
Two whammies. But it was a new build. And like what most people don't understand is like on those new builds and on normal cruise ships, you're sanitizing all the time. You walk on the ship, you go in the elevator, you go eat, you're washing your hands constantly. But I had friends who were on the Diamond Princess, which is the one outside San Francisco, and they were on the entertainment team, and they got evacuated to some base in Georgia. And they were there for 9 days, 10 days, and anyone's local in the Georgia area, they let them go home to finish out their quarantine. But luckily, nobody on the entertainment side had any infections or anything like that. And I'm still staying in touch with the guys on the ship because they're not done yet. And everyone on the ship is healthy, which is great to hear. I'm just really grateful that this whole thing is, you know, we're trying to contain it as best as possible, but it's really scary here in New York. And Jackie can kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, they shut Broadway, like 3 weeks ago, and actors are now getting sick. And they've been sheltered and out of work since then. So And they, you know, the ones that I've heard of were in Broadway shows actively. So they're only now getting, I don't know if it took that long for them to get it or it's just everywhere. So you're just running into, if you run into anyone, there's just a high chance. And the two guys that I know of, Aaron Tveit and Chad Kimball, they're young. They're healthy, young, working actors.
Interesting. Well, you know, the other thing that I love is seeing some of the things that people are doing as far as posts that they're making on Facebook, posts that they're making on YouTube, videos on YouTube and stuff, because I'm just not into watching every movie on Netflix and stuff. But Patrick Dearson, great example. You happen to be right dead center on my screen right now, but Patrick is going out, I don't know if it's bike rides or motorcycle rides or what it is, but he's going out on rides every day and videoing these rides of the streets of Las Vegas, basically. And just incredible video, like, you know.
There it is, dead as a doornail.
Yeah. Stuff that none of us ever imagined we would see. Like, definitely check out the videos on Patrick Dearson's Facebook.
We love Dearson.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Like, he's riding past, you know, Mirage and Wynn and all these mega resorts that are usually just stacked with people and traffic. It's incredible.
It's absolutely insane. I took a drive through New York yesterday because I needed to get out after day 12, but I stayed in my car. But driving through New York City, it is like a ghost town. It's really scary. I mean, I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
Yeah,
So
I mean, our office is in Times Square. We're right where the theaters are, and I did have to go the other day, and so they're leaving all neon lights on. It's almost a law, and so all the just like, you know, 50 shows, and they're all up. The lights are on, and it's completely empty. And it's not just like a Christmas Day empty. It's like no restaurants are open, no stores are open. But the lights are on. It's like a Twilight Zone scene. You know?
How about any of the guests on here who are in Europe? What's Europe like right now?
Actually, I read an article today saying that there's going to be tests that are going to be released in the UK within the next 3 or 4 days, where that everyone's going to be able to be tested. And I know you said earlier on, Marcel, about Trump having this new theory about everyone going back to work, and I'm wondering if that's linked to that. That if people can be tested, then
no,
yeah.
They're not. There's not enough. There won't be enough. He wants them to open April 13 on Easter. There won't be.
Yeah.
I mean, just statistically.
Yeah, I think we all know that that's not going to happen. Hey guys, I hate to interrupt, but I've got to turn the sailboat around, so I got to log off. But stay safe out there. I miss all of you guys, and hope to see all of you on the road very soon.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks for joining us, Patrick. Drive
Thanks, everybody.
safely.
Fuck you, Patrick.
So,
I think what's
bye, guys.
really incredible here is, sorry guys, Doug from Axe. I think what's really incredible to point out about that, especially what Dearson said about driving around and there's nobody around, for me, it gives me reassurance that people are actually paying the fuck attention and they're actually trying to fix the problem. There's plenty of people out there that just don't give a shit, and I think it's super reassuring to see videos like that and to hear that New York is totally dead, because that means people are starting to pay attention, and this is going to go faster and it'll get our industry up and running faster than we expected.
I will say cheers to that one. Thank God.
yeah, absolutely. That we haven't seen anarchy yet. Thank
The
Christ.
good news is Andrew Cuomo is saying that our infections are dropping.
Yep. That's David Barber.
Wow.
I mean,
That's
still,
good.
It's still, I
hospitals
mean,
are
it's
not-
still
yeah.
going up, but yeah, they're saying that in the last
The
3
rate.
days, they've seen hospitalization go from every 2 cases to every 3.4 to every 4.6 yesterday, which is really good news, but that's still scary.
So in Honolulu, we're in lockdown over here. And my wife just told me this morning that friends from her church that went to Costco to pick up supplies for the church, they were sitting out in front for a couple of minutes saying goodbye. And a policeman gave them all $400 tickets for gathering.
Come on.
So that's where we're at.
How many people?
3 of them.
I tell you,
Were they standing 6 feet apart?
They were too close.
I guess so.
And they
So
weren't from the same
couple of
household.
things that I think are kind of out there that I consider interesting fails. Like we have the Safeway supermarket, of course, and they put a plexiglass in front of the cashier, and that makes sense. But they didn't bother to put a hole in to transfer money or credit cards, so you have to walk around these sides.
Yeah.
Ready to do a shutdown here in Honolulu at 4:30 is when we're supposed to not be on the streets. And knowing that was coming on Monday, I figured I better get the internet banking things and the like together. And so I went through a Taco Bell and got maybe my only chance to eat. So I'm got.
It's amazing. It's
Every
not even
credit card
yes.
machine that I have to hit accept on with my finger, I just want to have a thing of hand sanitizer in my pocket for.
No, you do.
Ugh.
Or when you put your PIN number in, it's you just be surprised how much you touch, even to pick up the mail. But you know, you have to. It's cool on one hand.
Am I the only one here that wonders why we're just not doing a national shutdown for 30 days to get a handle on what's going on and let it manifest?
No, you're not. You're not.
It's a great idea.
I mean, my only fear about that would be then do public services, grocery stores.
Will abide by that. I think we'll see it flatten. I don't see anybody on this like 6 screens worth of video from Clay Packy, but I caught up with Francesco from Clay Packy last week, and he was telling me that they have all of these pop-up hospitals in Bergamo, but they're using churches to hold caskets because funeral homes can't hold them. And as long as people are smart and they stay in, you know, you can't fix stupid, right? So if you want to be stupid and go out and touch things and stay close to people, then it's kind of like wearing your seatbelt in your car. If you don't want to wear your seatbelt in your car and you go through the windshield, that's your problem. You know,
However, if you touch things that someone else touches, blah blah blah. So this is unfortunately where it's not just your own behavior; it's just your own problem. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I watched the news earlier and they said there is a spike in Amazon workers at their factories that have it now. So it's like nothing's safe. It's kind of like it's a little bit of a scary thing.
I mean, hi guys, it's Chris. What needs to happen, we just need to have a quick pause, like a pause button. Here in California, a lot of our workers for CT that are, you know, they're independent contractors. They're actually required to make their health payments, which is a California law right now. Many of them can't even make that. I've tried to call the IRS. I've tried to call California for a couple of these guys. Nobody's answering that phone. And those are automatic withdrawals. They will not stop it unless you talk to them. So we have many, many hardworking employees that are just out of luck at the moment, but IRS is taking out their account every month because you can't. I've been on hold with them for 4 days for 8 hours a day before I got cut off. And same with California to try and get them out of a deferment for these health benefits that they are required to make every month. So it's a little rough here in California. Unfortunately, I know it's rough everywhere, but these guys are getting murdered, absolutely murdered. It's very unfortunate. I hope it stops soon.
So one of the things I'd like to ask
Well, what
is,
I heard today, what England is doing, and I don't and at the original job, the government will, that's it. The government has contributed that to
Yeah.
the employee. But if they don't, if they then still need to lay them off, the employer apparently has to pay back the government that 80%, which sounds arduous. But in theory, if they get back on their feet, they've had that relief for 3 months, but the employee did not have nothing for 3 months. They had 80% up to a certain salary point. I mean, that's something that, you know, we don't have here, which makes, and then they enacted it and it's done in theory. It's like being implemented right now, whereas we've been talking about whatever's, you know, being approved, and, you know, that now has to roll out.
I truly hope so. I mean, these guys are struggling really bad right now, and they're worried. My phone is busier now that we're slow, or supposedly slow, than it was just a few weeks ago, just from people that we hire on a consistent basis asking these kinds of questions. They can't get answers from our government at the moment, and I'm trying to find it, and it's a little rough.
One of the questions I want to ask
Moving
everyone.
forward, we have some things at CT. I'm sure you all do. We're trying to be positive in a terrible situation.
So
yeah, it was really good because we basically had which is really good for a lot of the people suffering with this.
And relatively fast, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, this is Roel from Belgium. So we're in lockdown for almost a week and a half now, and we have the same system. Like it's not the same that we have to let them off, but the government takes over the payment of the employees.
Yeah.
And also on people who hire a house, or if you have as a business loans, they are frozen as well. So we'll see how it turns out. But it's strange to sit inside for the last 2 weeks.
Has anyone heard what's going on with our stimulus package? Does anyone know what's going on with that? Did it pass? I saw the market kind of went down, so I'm assuming no.
It passed. Didn't pass, I don't think.
They're still knuckling around with it. It's not done yet.
It passed the Senate. It has to go back to the House now.
On a related subject,
I mean,
I've been up since midnight trying to get on SBA's site for loans. And it came back on, well, midnight for me is 6 a.m. when the system came back on in the East Coast. And it promptly crashed. And it's been that way most of the night. So,
Bob, have you tried going through like a local bank, your banker?
I have, but well, you mentioned the stimulus package. The stimulus package will put money to the local banks to distribute, but the SBA loans are much more forgiving. If it happens, well, if you get one, supposedly there's an 11-month deferment, and up to 30 years. Unfortunately, you're talking about financing buying a house.
Hey, Bob, it's Ben Saltzman. Drop me an email and I'll send you. I just can't get it to the whole group, or maybe I could on the chat. I know this guy who does really great SBA facilitation, and he's holding seminars, one tomorrow, one Friday, to explain the CARES Act. That's the thing the Senate just passed, and what the specific procedures are to facilitate getting your hands on the SBA portions of it.
Cool. Well, if anybody has
Yeah,
any,
I would like to see that too. I would definitely like to see that.
Let me see if I can copy
that
the
email.
link and throw it
But-
in the chat thing here.
Well, the other thing is, Ben, I've got that link and I can just send it to the entire group.
That's the thing I sent you before, Marcel.
Yeah, I can just share it with the whole group.
Talking about the SBA loan, I had my accountant hop on, and we had to do the system crashed, and I think on Sunday morning at sorry guys, at Sunday morning at 3 a.m. we got onto the site, and we finally got the whole thing done. But you know, the whole system has just been crashing and real slow. So I don't know if that helps out. You know,
Well,
set up on
that's-
that website.
Yeah.
4 a.m.
One of the things this the facilitator says is the COVID loans are going to take so long to process that you may be better off going for a normal loan and then coming back to that later. So, because they're definitely, it is obviously, a 100-year
6
event
months
that's
at
going
best.
on.
So I have a question. I know we're talking about some of the negative things, but what about, what's the earliest date someone has heard a show rebooked?
I have shows booking for June.
Yeah, we're about in the same book. We're about June right now.
I still have some May
June
ones that
1st.
haven't canceled yet, but fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Cirque is supposed to be selling tickets for their Vegas shows starting in mid-May, but I don't know, Patrick, are you seeing that?
He needs to unmute.
Patrick, you're muted.
Muted, Patrick.
It's your unmute.
Sorry, I thought the space bar was supposed to unmute it. I said I'm looking at a very black strip right now, so I think it's pretty ambitious to be getting people in by May. But that being said, I do have stuff that hasn't canceled. We've been actually quite busy working on a handful of things that haven't canceled that are scheduled for May and June. And then we have bookings later on in the year that hadn't canceled yet. So I think they're just kind of riding it out, see how long it'll take.
I mean, one of the things that I see happening, so, certainly I think some promoters and venues and bands are going to say, okay, book me starting June 1st or June 10th or June whatever. But I think unless there's some sort of national indemnification law that's passed, I don't know that people are going to want to take that kind of liability, because if you sell tickets for an event in June and people go to that event in June and someone gets sick and sues the promoter and sues the performer and sues the venue and sues everybody else, we're not in a much better place than we are today. So
It's a very valid point, and I think that one of the other major things to consider is the fact that Las Vegas has received 0 test kits. We don't have any here at all in the state of Nevada. So what we're expecting to see happen realistically, my wife's on our HOA board, so that the board and building management are not only talking to Southern Nevada Health District, but also the doctors that live in our building. All of them unanimously say, we can't give you an actual figure right now because we're legally not allowed to, because we don't have actual test kits. But realistically, we can tell you that our numbers are, when they do come out, are going to be astronomical, because we've got no way to fight this. We're dealing with it day by day. It's the virus itself is incurable. You deal with symptomatic response to how the medical industry handles this. So I think that Las Vegas is going to take a lot longer to recover than most people ambitiously think.
And Marcel, sorry to return to negative, but the thing that I'm a little worried about is the fact that 75% of epidemiologists apparently are anticipating a second wave in the fall. And so then, what happens when all these events that are rescheduled for the fall, is it just going to be yet another train wreck in 6 months from now, right? I mean, does anyone have any thoughts on that?
National lockdown.
That's based on historical data of things resurging. It's not a positive, it's not like 100% type thing. That's a prediction based on, past viruses. So there's no way to know that whatsoever. I mean, there could be a whole new virus by then, so.
Well, and also as a couple people have said, it's sort of every day we do have some power on the national level to do something that will make a difference in 6 months if they would just do it. That's.
So as of Thursday, to fly into Hawaii will require 2 weeks of stay at home. So if you come here for 5 days, you're never going to have your trip anymore. So that's where we're at this point. We're in shut.
Yeah. Is John Broderick here?
Yes, I am, but I couldn't get the audio to work through the computer, so I'm on the phone and the video at the same time.
I thought I saw your name somewhere.
Yeah,
Hi, John.
I'm being underground.
He's hiding from us, and I don't blame you.
So Jackie said before about having grocery stores do delivery. That might be reasonable in a metropolitan area, but I live in the country, and they're just not staffed to do that. So it has potential to get pretty grim out here as the grocery workers, if they start to fall ill.
John, I know a lot of young designers who will probably deliver groceries to your house.
Yeah. Vegan all the way.
There you go. There you go. So, you know, I don't know. You know, what you said, Nils, is very possible, very true. You know, we could also get hit by a meteor. I mean, a lot of other things could happen. How long can you stop the planet? You know, how long? I don't know. I don't know the answers to any of these things. I mean, would I rush out to an ultra music festival with a bunch of sweaty, half-naked people next week? I don't think so. 2 weeks, a month from now, probably not. I mean, I don't go to them on a good day, let alone when we've got a virus.
You're not really the temperature for that, buddy.
Yeah, I keep trying to get like Gumper or one of these guys to send me a helicopter to take me to front of house so I can watch like a couple songs to see what it looks like and get the vibe and then fly me back out of there. But that just doesn't happen yet. So.
Hey, you missed it. Last year you could have taken a boat in, but that's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to propel to get to front.
Last year you needed a boat to get out.
Exactly.
Yeah, last year was a shit show.
That's exactly how we got out of there.
Robert Roth, how is and Chris McMean is here as well. How are you guys doing? I mean, obviously one of the most vocal or one of the most public layoffs happened and the earliest was at Christie. And as we know, I mean, pretty much every major company in this industry, Kathy from Four Wall was on earlier, the CEO of Four Wall. She had to leave and sent me a note, but you guys okay? I mean, obviously it's a stressful environment for all of us, and it's sad to see friends that are sitting at home while you're still collecting a paycheck, I guess. But everybody okay?
Yeah, we're all good. I mean, I was literally building 2 shows when all this really started to hit hard.
Yeah.
I was on, as the FA said, Mr. Roth, you're on the last flight that they let leave for Atlanta today.
Where were you?
I was up in London.
Oh, in London.
Infantry operation near Birmingham, and then down in London.
Yeah. And Chris, you're not only at Christie, who had lots of layoffs, but you're also in New York City. You all right?
Yeah, I mean, I live in the country, about an hour outside the city, so you know, good choices.
Yeah.
And you know, but I mean, the city's hurting right now. I was on my way to a Broadway dress rehearsal when everything was shut down. The local one union has negotiated a good deal to, you know, keep people paid on Broadway minimums, which is great. And you know, I mean, the city's surviving right now. I just don't know how long they can be closed, though. I mean, people are still having block parties. People are ignoring it. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I live in South Florida. We're the land of ignoring it. You know, I mean, it's so stupid what people are doing. I heard this morning that some local here went to a coronavirus party that was basically, fuck you, coronavirus, I'm not getting this virus, I ain't getting it. You know, they were basically doing it despite the virus. And this guy got the virus. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, it's stupid. You know, it's
Darwinism at its finest.
It's stupid. It's just stupid.
And right
It's a
now,
pretty
I'm
sad
having
day.
a conversation-
Pretty sad day when Cardi B was correct.
Yeah, that's frightening. Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm having the conversation with a lot of clients who are holding gear about, you know, the fact that it's still rental gear.
Yeah. So
You
Chris,
know,
I for one would be an advocate of you posting recipes along with those scrumptious pictures you're posting right now. And so, because understand, not all of us cook as well as you and your wife. And I wouldn't dare send you pictures of food that I'm cooking.
You sent me pictures of food you cooked. You did a good
One
job.
time, and I copied your recipe.
Yeah, but
So,
you did a good job.
Yeah, it was delicious. I
And
tried
it was
making
good.
it again, and it was terrible, and I threw away all the fish. So, yeah, I'm not.
Chris, how are you surviving without sushi now?
It's very painful for me, as you might well know.
He's already carved up all his kids' goldfish.
Yeah, there's no water sushi in the mountains.
Yeah.
So,
Ben Saltzman the other night was trying to make
smoking.
Ben Saltzman was trying to make homemade sushi with his kids, and apparently that didn't go real well.
Looked terrible, tasted fantastic.
Oh, really? Yeah, sushi's one of those things that I don't like to mess with.
Yeah, well, you got to go to a specific place that sells
Yeah,
sashimi.
you can still get that here.
Now that they
Yeah, but
emptied
the
out
rice-
Columbia University, the H Mart's a safe place to go.
Mm.
Up on 100, the H Mart on 110th Street is besides the cashiers, there's no one there.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Ben? Are you getting delivery, or are you going into like Whole Foods or Fairway or what?
No, you know, it's interesting. So for those of you who I don't know, I have a 10-year-old daughter, a 14-year-old son, and a wife. We live in an apartment on the Upper West Side.
Near me. We're near each
They're right near Jackie, a couple blocks away. Kids have been home from school for about 2 weeks. So they're doing like daytime learning on the computer. We've been doing the local delivery service for most of the groceries and cooking almost all the meals at home. But you know, you got to go to the grocery store every so often. So, you know, every 3 or 4 days.
Food Direct, Food Kick. Food
Yeah.
Kick is a subsidiary of Fresh Direct.
Absolutely.
And it has available slots.
Yep.
They
We
only
use
charge
them
a $4 delivery.
Yep.
You pay
We use-
$9 for the month.
First time I had to wait in line. It's my first time I had to wait in line in a grocery store since I lived in Prague 25 years ago.
Yeah. One of the things I learned this week was that because I have a lot of local friends who own restaurants, and I've been supporting the hell out of them. I happen to be a bachelor, so it's pretty easy to do because I don't cook anything. But one of the things I learned is that I think it was Uber Eats. Well, I think most of the delivery services charge them like 30% of the bill. And so they're like, please just order it from us direct. I'll send my son to deliver it to you, or you can pick it up curbside or whatever. So I'm really trying, you know, as much as, yeah, sure, Uber Eats and all those companies need to make money too, but 30% is a pretty heavy hit for these restaurant folks who are really struggling right now. And so I'm trying to order direct from the restaurants, and if they want to use Uber Eats to deliver it, that's up to them, right? But
Uber's going to get bailed out. Your local restaurant needs your money.
Yeah.
Oh,
true.
absolutely.
It's an interesting point because a lot of these delivery services are sending out a ton of promotional emails saying that they're waiving their delivery fees. So they're clearly not doing anything on the back end with the suppliers either, are they? It's just
No.
the savings of their clients. out.
Yeah, their $1.99 fee or their $2.99 fee, they're waiving it, but they're making 30% on the whole check. So they ain't hurting. And then plus you're supposed to tip them 20%, you know, for delivering it as well. And, you know, I mean, I don't mind. I'm overpaying all of these people right now because they're struggling. And most of them, let's face it, most waitresses and waiters, they're not sitting on huge savings or anything. They're hurting right now. So even if somebody's just carrying a bag of food out to my car in the front of the restaurant, I'm giving them 20%, you know, because what else are they getting? So, yeah.
I've been watching some live comedy, and this guy who I like is having all these other comedians on like these live Instagram stories, you know, live things. And he's raising money for all these comedy clubs that he plays all over the country. and he just asks you, you're not required to just give 10, 15 bucks, and it all to various comedy clubs.
that's
and
cool.
It goes to the waiters and the bartenders in those clubs. That's literally for those people
That's
who
cool.
have no jobs.
I love these live. Seth Jackson shared one earlier today that was Tommy Shaw from Styx, and I shared it again. And I mean, just amazing. I'm a huge Tommy Shaw fan anyway, but that particular one was just so damn good. And he was singing to his dog, and his dog got up and walked away.
So when you're really bored, when you're a rock star, singing to your own dog.
Yeah.
Marcel, hit me up about the time Tommy Shaw stole my moonshine.
Well, please tell us. Please tell us. You started it.
All right. So I was out with Styx on tour with Tesla as the opening act, and Tommy Shaw. A term became known during the tours when somebody takes your stuff and they're a rock star and you don't want to say no to them, but your booze got Tommy Shaw'd. It basically is what it ended up happening.
That's funny.
I was given this bottle of moonshine from the Jeff Keith, the lead singer of Tesla. And he was like, "Hold on to this. Do not let anything happen to this. This is for the crew." And Tommy Shaw came on our bus and took it.
Oh God. That's hilarious.
Well, it was our lead singer's best friend who made it in Oklahoma. So it's like authentic moonshine.
Though, I love Tommy Shaw. Like, to me, there's a list about this long of rock stars who are still rock stars when they get into their 60s and stuff. And it's Steven Tyler, Sammy Hagar, Tommy Shaw. These guys still sing the same that they did when they were 30. It's unbelievable. And Tommy Shaw just impresses the hell out of me.
One thing I wanted to tell you guys about is I'm working with a bunch of other LDs, and there's this, we're trying to get this live from nowhere thing up and running. I don't know if anyone's heard about it. It's basically, we're trying to reach out to our artists and management and see if they will get their artists to do some concerts for benefit for our industry and for people like, all of the techs, all the designers, all these people. So I would be happy to, if it's all right with you, Marcel, pass the info to be able to distribute to everyone in this.
Yeah.
So if they have artists or anybody who, we're just looking for artists right now. We're looking for people that are willing to do this, and any help. This is a big, we have 40 people in this group. So any reach out would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Matt, is it a fundraiser?
It's a bunch of I think it's the guys like Nick Whitehouse started it with a couple other people, and I'm working with Sooner on it right now. And she's been funneling me the info as it comes. So I will be more than happy to get this to Marcel, and you have the distribution list, right?
Yeah, I can send it to everyone.
Get some information out. Anything that you guys can do, and we're just trying to raise money, and nobody really has it. That's what makes this difficult.
But some people do.
Some people do, but the people that really truly enjoy the concerts and want to see the people, unfortunately, they're all starving like all of us. So anything that we can do to help out our brethren on the road would be much appreciated. So I just wanted to let you guys know about it.
Marcel, it's Greg Jones. How are you, bud?
Hey, Greg.
And hi, everybody. I've had some technical difficulties and had to switch to my wife's computer.
I like your wife's much better than yours, Greg.
Are you wearing your wife's pants too?
Yeah. Here, I'll show you just to blur out the other one. Anyway, Matt, you bring up a good subject, and I've heard just through my kind of over communication with the industry. When we look back at the previous sort of things happened in our world, 9/11, there was a number of concerts that came from the heart. Most recently, I was involved with a very local one after the big California fire season. Do we as an industry have an obligation? Could we use these? There will be numerous concerts, in every major city when we get out of this. I think that we can agree on. But do we have an obligation to step in there and really, really step up to help kickstart our industry? Because everyone that's televised or everyone that that the local news is talking about is going to help all of us in the end. You know, how do we do that? You know, you've heard some plans happening. I've heard a few that just ideas and concepts. I'd love to get everybody's opinion because I think we have more to do with it than anyone imagines. You know, this is at a scale that's just unprecedented, and you know, I just think there's going to be opportunities with some of these events, whether it's the manufacturers, the vendors, lighting and audio, on how we can help kickstart people's confidence in going out to large gatherings.
Well, you know, again, from my standpoint, one of the things that's still going to need to be dealt with before we get there is going to be creating confidence to the vendors and the venues and the promoters and everyone involved that there's not going to be lawsuits flying around. So, you know, to me, that's going to be a big issue. Like, I don't know if Live Nation already probably has 20 lobbyists dealing with this or whatever, but from my standpoint, like, I've got way too many lawyers. I've had to have way too many lawyers. You know, there's just too many people out there who are very excited to sue people. You know, I think there's a lot of opportunists that are going to take advantage of that. So I think that needs to be dealt with first. Once that's dealt with, you know, I think there's going to be all kinds of opportunities to have these benefit things. But the problem with benefits later is that people don't need to be paid back for what they lost. People need to be supported today. And so, you know, one of the initiatives that I've seen, which I don't necessarily agree with, I don't know yet, I'm thinking about it. Eric Loader, you also know about this one, but someone came to me and said, why don't we create a group where we basically take 5% of our profits or 5% of our gross revenues or 5% of something, and we all put it into a kitty and start, you know, you create a board around that kitty that says, okay, we're going to pay this out to these people or to this group or to, you know, this section of the industry or whatever, and actually directly impact where that money comes from and where it goes to. You know, my answer to that is, okay, great, as long as the very largest companies out there get involved and they're doing the same thing, because otherwise, what are we really doing? You know, we're kind of pissing in the wind. Sorry for the, you know, words or whatever, but so.
I mean, that already sort of exists with ESTA. They have this behind the scenes foundation that has granted, you know, I can't remember, it's over $500,000 or more from donations. And a lot of the donations are from manufacturers who are giving X percentage of every product sold of this particular brand or whatever.
Right.
And they're now receiving a lot of submissions for grants, obviously.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just going to keep going.
Yeah, but Jackie, the problem is, like, some of us, me included, are a little weird about giving to an organization and like to be more directly involved, to directly impact, to directly make those decisions on where my money goes. Yep. And so, you know, I came up with a concept, which I still haven't written off, which, you know, my thing is called, my podcast is called Geezers of Gear. So I came up with this thing called Geezers of Good, where basically I was going to do an Adopt a Roadie program almost, where people, us, whoever, could say, okay, I've got an extra, you know, $100 a week that I could share. I'm going to, you know, donate to someone, and I just put you together with somebody who needs it.
Right.
And then I kind of started thinking, do I really need an extra job right now? You know, I don't know that I have the time to do this. So, but, you know, the industry needs help now. So, Greg, what you're saying is great. I just don't know that, you know, after the fact, benefit concerts are going to help people that are, you know, really, really hurting today, you know. Jeff Ravitz, you've been way too quiet. We need your wisdom.
Hey, everyone. Hey, look, it's tough out there. Things are canceling right and left. You know, we're going to have to ride it out, be creative until it comes back. And, you know, I predict when it does, it's going to come back strongly.
Yeah.
And we're all going to have plenty, but if you can survive until then is really the question. I kind of see it as being a long-term thing, though. I don't think it's 2 weeks, and it might not even be 2 months.
But Jeff, on a serious note, do you have a funny Tommy Shaw story?
No, not any that I can tell. Sorry.
Oh, come on. Jeez.
No, Matt's was enough for me.
He has all the great stick stories.
Have you been Tommy Shaw'd?
We're in between friends here.
What's that?
We're in between friends here. You can tell, Jeff.
Yeah. It sounds like fun, but no.
John, he has some really great stories too, I'm sure, that you don't want to tell. So
yeah. Yeah, we all do. We all have stories.
Marcel, if I could
I have a question for the troops. In that we've all talked to people or read about people who lived through the Depression, and 50, 70, 80 years later, they're still scarred by that. They still hoard their money. They still, don't throw things away. Do we have to worry about a long-term impact mentally on audiences, financially and mentally, when we're talking about these re-emerging in the concert world or the entertainment world?
John, that's a brilliant question. I'm going to barge in here and just say cheers, everybody. I have to drop for something else. It was great to see you all.
Cheers, Ben.
Stay safe.
Thanks for joining us,
Stay
Ben.
safe and wash your hands.
John, I think that's a great question. My personal opinion, my opinion only, I know nothing, but my personal opinion, that's pretty funny. Griff is paused with a high five. Does anyone else see that? Oh, it came back. Griff, your video froze and you were like this. It was pretty cool. But my personal opinion is that now he's got 2 of them. That's hilarious. He's got like 1 frame per minute video going right now. My personal opinion
It's hard times.
Yeah, it was cheaper bandwidth.
Man at T3.
That's funny.
You should see the picture he posted before.
Yeah.
You should see the picture Griff posted, but at first it was pretty hilarious.
God. So my personal opinion is that concert goers are going to be dying to go to concerts. And I mean, absolutely no pun intended in that one. So they're going to be very anxious to get out of the house and to go to shows. Yep. They're going to probably be a little edgy in that they're not going to be as careful as they should. They're probably, really, I mean, I know people that if the beaches weren't closed would be stacked at the beaches right now. I know people who would be stacked into restaurants right now. And, I had a friend of mine who's 70 years old and he's an extremely successful Palm Beach attorney, invited me to a dinner last night in a closed restaurant at an undisclosed location, where you couldn't tell anyone, but there was going to be 100 people there. And I was like, are you nuts? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, I got to get out of the house, man. I got to get out. So I think people are going to go to concerts. I don't think this is going to be the issue. Yeah. I think our industry is going to rebound in a massive way. It's going to be mayhem. We're going to be short on staff, short on gear, short on everything. And I think the industry, ours is going to come back strong and crazy. And I just think, personally, I think that somebody's got to deal with the liability issue, because otherwise lawsuits are going to crush companies even after this is over,
Well, that's
and that scares me.
For, right?
Yeah.
That little box you check when you buy software that you never read that says you agree down at the bottom? That's how you'll buy tickets.
Exactly.
Oh, hell yeah.
Exactly.
Hell yeah. No, hell yeah.
Well,
but I mean, is a disclaimer enough?
How it works now.
I mean, the other thing is you can claim you got it at the concert, but like, who really?
How do you prove it? How do you prove it?
There's no way to prove it. It's a 14-day transmission period. So who
people just can't get sick of these things. That's the main thing.
And
there's no question that the demand is going to be there. There's no question that the thing's going to rebound. And I agree that when it comes to checking the box to buy the ticket, it's different with a corporate show. Because with a corporate show,
Robert, you got to get closer to the mic.
If your company orders you to come to the
you got to get rid of the gate, baby.
Then you're liable out of the gate. With a concert, we're offering you a ticket for sale, and that's how it's going.
Yeah. Well, but that's not how it is right now. So I mean, if I'm a lawyer and my daughter goes to see, you know, Pearl Jam in July, and she gets sick at the concert, I am going to sue Pearl Jam. I'm going to sue Upstaging, who's the lighting company. I'm going to sue Live Nation. I'm going to sue the city of wherever.
Lawsuits fall flat. They fall flat because there's no way you can prove that she got it at that concert.
Yeah.
There's
Actually,
no way
I think
you can actually prove it.
on the corporate side, we see more of it because they hold it for their employees. We see they're holding it for their sales reps, and they're asking them all to come. That's what we're seeing on the CT end. Is they've said, the lawyer said, no way, because they are employees. They're sales representatives. So we have seen that. But on your other note, Marcel, at CT, we haven't fired one employee. We haven't laid off one employee. We are that company that is hoping NEP, all of them, 4,500 employees worldwide, we're ready to go when it starts. And we hope the same that you said, that once it starts, we are ready to go. Trucks are loaded. We have 3 studios right now that are actually loaded that we had to stop, and we are just ready for the go.
Yeah.
And I think that some of these companies need to look at, okay, how are we going to adjust ourselves? How are we going to get ready for this onslaught? How are we? Like, I have guys training right now on like boards.
Yeah.
I'm training on other software that I've never used before.
Yeah. I did a podcast last week with Featherstone, John Wiseman, Eric Loader, and Ben Saltzman. And I don't know if anyone heard it, but we talked about this concept that I've basically called Day 91. And to me, Day 91 means preparing yourself for the other side of all of this, for the day after all of this. And that to me is extremely important. If you're sitting around eating Doritos on the couch, good on you. We all need a break. I understand. But the thing is, you're not going to come out of this very well. You're not going to be very prepared. You're not going to improve yourself in any way. So roadies should be upskilling right now. You know, if you're a lighting tech, you should be learning the Grand MA software because they're teaching you how to use it for free. You should be learning the Obsidian control software. You should be learning, you know, Martin has free training out there. ETC has free training. All these companies used to charge for this stuff thousands of dollars just very recently, and now they're doing it for free. Take advantage of that stuff. And we as business owners, we as employees who are at a pretty high level in these companies, find ways to better yourself. You know, this is an opportunity that we don't often get where, you know, we don't have our phone ringing 1,000 times a day. I mean, me personally, I'm busier than I've been in years. I got to be honest with you. And it's because I'm doing this kind of stuff. I'm doing 3 podcasts a week. I'm doing all this stuff. But, you know, I mean, these are times when we can upskill, we can get better at our jobs and be more valuable on Day 91. And that's very important. What you just said, Chris, is be prepared because this is going to be crazy when we come out the other side. We all know that.
It's absolutely 100%. I mean, me, of all people as a designer, have always used one software. Now I got to learn 2 more. And I'm going to learn the grandma. I swear I'm going to learn it.
Good for you.
I swear I'm going to learn it.
There's the answer to that old thing. You can teach an old dog a new trick. There you go.
Now you got to make the kids laugh too.
Yeah. Are your kids in the background laughing?
Yeah, it's out of my office.
That's pretty funny.
That's
pretty funny.
You.
That's pretty funny. His kids are like, "Rah!" That's hilarious.
Marcel,
So-
everyone, I got to drop out.
I think we're all getting to a point where we got to drop out. Does anybody have anything big and important to share at this point besides cheers?
I've got a big question for our manufacturer and manufacturer reps on this. One of the biggest issues that has been publicized recently is America's reliance on China for all of our goods. Has this shifted your way of thinking about bringing some of that stuff back here to the States? Or is this, we're going to go back to business as usual? Does that change anything on your end?
I think Greg is the lonely manufacturer left
Yeah,
here.
that's
And
about it.
and I'll answer for you, Greg. No,
Yeah,
chances are manufacturers aren't pulling out of China anytime soon.
Yeah,
I think though on drugs, medicine, that kind of stuff, critical things that are life or death, yes, we absolutely should be doing that.
Yeah,
But
and let me speak to that if you don't mind. I mean, because
of course,
I
was trying to save you.
There's some fallacies behind that, right? I think you guys would be shocked to hear that, and I will tell you, in the last 10 days, I honestly think I've learned more than the last 3 years. With the meetings I'm in with, Martin being part of Harman and the breadth of factories out there and the ports of call that we deal with and ship in and out of and so on and so forth. It's really mind blowing. I actually expected I'd get some family time here, and I'm working 14-hour days, and it's just, and I'm enjoying it, right? In regards to the manufacturing, who would be shocked here to learn that our Chinese factory is at 75% right now? I was blown away when I learned that 3 days ago.
Yeah, Loader said the same thing. Loader said the same
So-
thing. They're at like 85% or something.
So why is
now
that?
nobody's buying anything? So
Yeah, but they were the epicenter, and that gives my heart a glimmer of hope that they're either the workers were quarantined or they've already caught it and gotten better, and now they're back to work. So that's interesting. So I don't think, I think the question of bringing manufacturing back more has to do with the U.S. economy and politics, right? I'm learning.
no, not really. I think from a standpoint of medicine and healthcare and critical items like masks and things like that, we should have U.S. manufacturing. We absolutely should have U.S. manufacturing. We should know that in a crisis, China can't go, you know what? Fuck you, America. We can't have that. I mean, we obviously have to be safe and comfortable with the fact that we can get what we need if shit hits the fan. Lighting is not one of those items,
Everything's going to go back to the way it was before. I mean, as soon as this is over.
Agreed, Chris.
I think people are you really going to pay $9 for a mask at the hospital? Right now they're paying 45 cents. 20 cents.
Yeah, but I think there will be Buy American initiatives and stuff like that. I think there's got to be when it comes to drugs, medicine.
Unless the government starts doing it itself, nobody's going to do it here and make.
Without getting political at all, we definitely have the president right now who is going to push that. I guarantee it. The president right now is going to give incentives. And he's going to block people who want to produce drugs outside of the country. He's going to, he's just that guy, right? So I'm not saying right or wrong.
Marcel, let me share with you guys
You promised no political, and then you just went there.
That wasn't political. I'm just saying, no, because he's got balls bigger than brains, and he don't care who he pisses off. If he's going to say, we're bringing drugs back to here, and people go, no, you can't do that. Oh, watch me. He's
not going to do that. I don't believe you. I'll give you $20 if he does.
Done.
And you can give me $20 when he doesn't.
Let me share with you a little bit of information using something as simple as fasteners, screws, right? And I may be off on my numbers, but across the key brands like Martin and JBL and Crown, we had something like 236 fasteners across our products, and they squeezed that down to something like under 50 fasteners. And then they realized that we were sourcing those from pretty much China, right? Cheap steel, cheap manufacturing, cheap labor, and so on. Over the last 5 years, what they've done is basically not put it all in that region. However, when components and parts of that are required still from China, it breaks the whole system down. You see what I'm saying? So I think there's a bigger thing that, like, you can't even find somebody reasonably in the United States to make those fasteners. So what we are looking at is, okay, a certain percentage has to be in the U.S. from a U.S. manufacturer that does not require Chinese or another region. And then you blend the cost. So the cost of your fasteners goes up because it's a blended cost across all regions to somehow protect us, because we have product right now that's waiting to get built because we can't get the fasteners.
Yeah.
Right? Something as simple as
Understood.
that.
No, understood.
It's very interesting to dive into it. And I think that going through this, when we get out of this, I think it's going to change the way a lot of businesses think.
Craig Burrows, what do you think?
Well, I have mixed thoughts about that. I think that Trump is definitely going to push the Buy American and not foreign product agenda. I think that's all wraps up pretty into his package.
I just meant, what do you think in general? I didn't mean, what do you think about that thing? You haven't spoken yet.
I like to listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Hungry.
You're a voyeur.
Well, right now, what we're doing, just to let you know what we're doing, we've been approached by several governments, and we're investigating if we can build UV sanitizing devices, like our strobe box, and load it with the proper nanometers of UV LEDs. I'm sure there's probably another one on this call right now that's probably been approached as well. We were told that they were going to be, but we're moving fast on that. And the reason for that is we can put those, the government can put those, our governments and others can put those into large facilities, Grand Central Station, arenas, airports, international train stations and such. And so we're moving fast on that. And I think we're going to be able to come up with something pretty quickly. You know, right now, a lot of our focus is just, like you said earlier, connecting with the customers and just talking with them and listening to their stories and what they're going through. And so I've been working, you know, daily, conference calls, trying to put together a benefit package, a streaming.
You guys also have a swag deal, don't you? You got a swag deal coming up.
We do. We're just launching that right now. Absolutely.
Oh, so it's not out yet?
Well, you'll see the first one come. We just got the approval on the proof today with just the storyline. And yeah, so we're going to swag the nation sort of thing. But, you know, we're just doing multiple initiatives to try to uplift people and help where we can. You know, it's just the great unknown. You know, it was mentioned earlier that we may have a second wave occur. So, you know, the outlook right now for a lot of people, very bleak. And so we're just going to do our part in terms of what we can do in a safe environment, streaming networks, things like that, with performances that are already canned, and try to request donations from our built-in network, you know, and social networks around the world. That's where we're focused right now. I've been spending 90% of my time daily and a lot of my time at night thinking through just the parameters of that so that it works. And,
yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Seth, you've been awfully quiet, and so you've been sort of double whammied. Well, no, you're not in Nashville anymore. I keep saying you're in Nashville, but you're not in Nashville.
No,
in
no,
St.
no.
Louis.
But boy, they have had it down there.
Yeah, Nashville got their ass kicked, and
They were barely past the tornado when all this started. So unfortunately,
I
a lot
know.
of attention has shifted over. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
people who can't get the help they need because you can't have the gathering of people to do a habitat house or rebuild a roof that's been torn off or any of those other things.
Yeah.
So they're struggling down there pretty hard.
Well, and I got to tell you, the very worst possible thing that could have ever happened, I had to swallow every bit of pride I had in my whole world and ask Seth Jackson for Barry Manilow tickets. And now I'm not even going to be able to use them because I'm sure Las Vegas won't be opened in time. So, you know, I actually had to ask for my girlfriend and for my sister. We're going to Las Vegas for Infocom, and Infocom might not happen. And now, you know, I'm not going to go see Barry Manilow apparently, but I do appreciate the tickets, Seth.
Many have made that call of shame. It just
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Most do it more quietly than me, though. Most won't admit
We
it.
just really don't announce it to the whole group here.
Yeah, yeah.
Seth, are you up for a Dodgers cards bet?
Ooh.
I don't know.
Yeah, depending on when we start playing. Yeah.
I still don't forget wearing the cards hat at LDI for an entire day. That was painful, man. But
that was a painful time.
Now let's do it. We have witnesses.
Yeah, yeah, I've done those things.
Right out that as of today, Infocom is not canceled yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, I haven't canceled my flights. So, and I am going from Las Vegas up to my house in the Canadian Rockies. So I really hope the trip is still on because I'm really looking forward to the second part of the trip going up to Canada. But yeah, and so a very weird little piece of trivia. So everyone's kind of other than people in New York, because I think you all know people who have got the virus, but everyone's kind of waiting until they have friends or family who have been diagnosed and going, oh my God, it's terrible. My very first one is in this little tiny town in Canada where I have my house in the Canadian Rockies. And it's my best friend up there, basically. He was on a ski trip in France and got it. And when he flew back, kind of was feeling sick and stuff. So separated himself on the plane. And when he got back, he got tested. And sure enough, he had it. And he's clear now. It's gone now. So he keeps telling me, you want to buy some of my blood and all this stuff, right? Thinking that, you know, he could cure me or whatever with his blood. But it's just bizarre. You know, I live in South Florida and I have so many friends in New York and all these big cities. And the first person I know who got diagnosed with COVID-19 is in this tiny little town in Canada. So pretty strange.
Here in Belgium, it's different. Everybody knows somebody who has it. So
yeah.
We're already in a different state.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
It is crazy times, guys. So, I mean, does anybody else have anything to share? Otherwise, let's get the hell out of here.
Marcel, I sent you that link, so you should have it in your email at your teasers. So feel free to share that.
Which link was that? Oh, you emailed it to me.
Yeah, I emailed it to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll send it out to everybody.
Yeah, let everyone know.
Guys, good to see y'all.
Thank you guys all for doing this. It was fun. And
Great.
we'll stay in touch, all right? If anybody needs anything from me, here I am. And cheers. Stay safe, be healthy. Thanks, everyone.
Salute.
Everyone be good.